Welcome to Passive Cash Flow, a channel dedicated to guiding you towards financial independence through sustainable passive income streams. Today, we're embarking on a special journey. This is our first video, and it's more than just an introduction. It's the beginning of a transformative journey towards success. I've poured my heart into this video because I believe in the power of the right mindset. This video is about understanding the importance of mindset in our journey towards financial freedom. It's about cultivating the right mindset for the journey of life, understanding what makes a life worth living. So, let's embark on this journey together, exploring the power of mindset and how it shapes our path to success and a fulfilling life. Today, I want to share a short story with you. Once I attended a funeral with a colleague of mine. The deceased was a close friend of my colleague. There's a tradition where close friends and family stand up and share their memories of the departed. When it was my colleague's turn to speak, he shared memories of their childhood together. He then went on to talk about the journey he had witnessed his friend go through, how he had grown up and lived his life. His speech was truly moving. However, the phrase that stuck with me the most was the one he used to conclude his story about his friend. He said, "A life well lived." Those 4 words resonated deeply within me. It made me ask myself a question. How do I want to live my life so that when my time comes, I can smile knowing that I've lived a life well lived? And from those thoughts, it led me to a bigger question. How do I want my life to be narrated? In today's episode, I will share with you the journey I took to find the answer to that question. In the pictures that I will share with you in today's episode, I divide it into 3 stages. The first stage, I call it the investment stage, because according to my thinking, for anything in this world, to get the sweet fruit, we must have the days when we diligently sow and cultivate. Speaking in financial terms, to get high returns, good results, we must have the days of tightening our belts to invest. It would be very unreasonable if we do not put in effort but still want to have the sweet fruits later. Therefore, as soon as we start to take control of our lives, right after the age of 18, receiving the key from our parents to start steering our own lives, that is when we must immediately start this investment stage. So, what should we invest in? In my opinion, we should invest in 4 aspects: experiences, knowledge, finances, and mindset. Now, the next question is, what is the most effective way to invest in these 4 aspects? At this point, I will take a step back to return to the initial question, which is, how do we want the story of our life to be narrated? This is a very important question that I think everyone should ask themselves in order to try to find the answer. Because if we can't find the answer to this question, meaning as long as we still don't know what we want our life to be like, we will continue to move forward in a very confused and aimless way. And when we don't know where to go, we tend to follow the beaten path. We go where others go. And when we follow the beaten path, that's when we start to leave our life to chance. If we're lucky, the beaten path will lead us to places that make us happy. If we're unlucky, it will lead us to things we don't want to encounter. When we realize this, it might be when we have almost gone through our life. So, in my opinion, one of the most important goals is to sketch out a preliminary picture of how we want to paint our life. In other words, we need to focus on how we want our life story to be narrated after we are gone. And according to me, the most effective way to answer this important question is that we must have as many ingredients as possible. Here, the ingredients are the things that will make us happy. The more of these ingredients, the better. Why do I say that? Now, try to imagine. If we ask a pianist what they want their life picture to be like, their answer will surely revolve around activities related to the piano and music. Similarly, if we ask the same question to someone like a professor, for example, I guess 90% of the answer will be about living a life dedicated to researching mathematics and doing things related to math. But if we ask the same question to a young friend who has just finished high school, who doesn't yet know what they like or want, it will certainly be very difficult for them to answer the question of what they want their life picture to be like. For this reason, these questions are both difficult and easy. They're difficult if we truly lack the ingredients, if we don't know what we like or are passionate about. They're easy when we clearly know what we're passionate about, what brings us joy and happiness. But passion is like a mirage in the desert. Everyone knows they need it. Everyone wants it. But it's not easy to have it. Some people struggle their whole lives without knowing what they're passionate about. So, the next question is, how do we find our passion? According to me, the only way to find our passion is to experience as much as possible. Because it will be very difficult for us to stand outside, look in, and determine whether we like or dislike something. The only way to know if we like it or not is to experience it for a long time and deeply enough. Why do I say long enough and deep enough? Because in most cases, we can only discover whether we like something or not after we have experienced it for a long enough time. I'll give a simple example of playing the piano. In the beginning, it's very easy to quit because we have to learn very dry basics, not to mention playing for a long time without getting any melody. This period will be very boring. But if you continue to practice, gradually you will start to play, and gradually find the joy in it, and that joy will grow. And if it continues to develop like that, it may become a passion for something. Therefore, if we quit too early, we may miss an opportunity to discover a passion of ours. But there's also a chance that after a while, even if we've mastered it, it still doesn't have enough appeal to pull us forward, then at least we've got a pretty accurate answer to the question of whether that thing is our passion or not. Therefore, in these early years, if you're still struggling, not knowing what you like, just experience as much as possible. Whenever there's an opportunity to experience something new, just experience it and do it to the end. And these things sometimes require us to invest quite a lot of time. That's why in this diagram, I dedicate a very large amount of time to this experience. A total of 17 years from when we step out into life at the age of 18 until the age of 35. In fact, this is a period of time when we have nothing to lose. We step into life empty-handed. Therefore, we should experience as much as possible, even if after a while we find out that what we love is still a very valuable experience in life. Because after all, we live to experience as many things as possible. In this stage, we should play as much as possible. And I firmly believe that the more we play, the higher the probability that we will find the games we like. It will be very difficult if we only play a few games and expect to immediately find out which game we like. But imagine, if we have played about 100 games, we will surely find a few games that we like. And just like that, when we have experienced enough for a long enough time, I believe that you will definitely find your passion again. Even more, I believe that if we continuously experience countless things for such a long period of time, the fact that we find more than one passion is something that can completely happen. And that will be a very wonderful thing. Because sometimes there are people who ask, living a lifetime without any passion, and sometimes just one passion, is enough ingredients for us to paint the picture for our life. The second thing we need to equip ourselves with is knowledge. This aspect is something I don't need to elaborate on too much, as everyone knows that knowledge is a very important aspect of our lives. We should strive to develop a mindset, what is called a growth mindset. The general idea is that we need to develop a spirit of continuous learning and self-renewal. Especially in the era we are living in, the acquisition of knowledge is open to everyone. Regardless of social class or wealth, all you need is a computer or even just a phone with an internet connection. The playing field of knowledge is now much more level. Therefore, we just need to develop a spirit of continuous progress and have effective learning and research methods. From there, we can study any field we want. Looking at this chart, although I put the learning and knowledge acquisition phase in the 18 to 35 age range, in reality, learning is something we should do all our lives. I encapsulate it in this stage to make the chart look neater. Next, another important thing that we need to undertake as soon as possible is the journey to financial freedom. And we should start this as soon as we step into life. As soon as we get our first salary, we should immediately start saving and investing. The first step of the financial freedom journey is that we must be able to support ourselves, meaning we must break free from dependence on our family. Therefore, whether you go to university or not, right after turning 18, you should start working to achieve financial independence. To be independent, you just need to take care of yourself. And this is not difficult at all. You just need to basically do some work. And after trying to support yourself, you must immediately embark on the journey of accumulation and building financial freedom for yourself. And as we know, if there is a correct method of implementation, on average, a financial freedom journey will take somewhere around 10 years. And in this model, we have a total of 17 years. Therefore, I believe that with the right mindset, combined with persistence and the right methods, this 17-year period will certainly be enough for us to achieve financial freedom. That's why we should start our financial journey as soon as possible. And these journeys start from the fact that we work for ourselves. Working, besides helping you to have finances to support yourself, you will accumulate countless other valuable life capitals. And these life capitals will be the foundation to build a strong mindset for our future life. I always believe that mindsets are very important things. Just like that, during this period, we just need to focus on investing in these 4 aspects: experience, knowledge, financial freedom, and building mindsets. I call these 4 aspects life capitals. Continuously like that, accumulating more and more life capital day by day, we will gradually understand who we are and what we want. From there, we will gradually start to imagine what the picture we want for our life will look like. However, I also add that we should not expect what we draw at this stage to be a fixed picture. We should not see these drawings as a blueprint of a house. What we draw will be exactly the same in the future. Because if so, life would be very boring. Instead, let's see it as a compass to guide us in a certain direction. On this journey, we can turn left and right depending on the conditions and stages of life. But thanks to this compass, the general journey of our life will still go in a certain direction, which is the direction that will bring us the most happiness. Not seeing this chart, I take the milestone of 35 years old as a suggestion, but it is not necessarily fixed at this exact time. Because each person will have a different way to carry out these journeys, it will be shorter or longer, depending on each person's conditions. Now, let's look back at what we have built in this 17-year period. First, there are countless experiences that we have accumulated over such a long period of time. Along with that is a series of deep and wide knowledge that we have continuously learned and improved ourselves. Then, we have also built a series of strong mindsets for ourselves, such as the mindset about financial freedom, the mindset of knowing enough, the mindset of freedom from material, the mindset for us to continuously experience and accept new things, the mindset of persistence and not giving up, do whatever we do to the end, and many different mindsets through these continuous processes of experiencing and learning. Behind us then is a solid shield, and the financial freedom ahead means our life no longer has to be affected by money. And most importantly, in front of us is a compass, which are the sketches we have made about the lives we want them to look like. At this point, we already know what we want to do and what will bring us the most happiness. Enjoy and share life. With such foundations from now on, we can freely enjoy life in any way we want. Suppose if we like to build a family, then we can completely build a family with a solid financial foundation of financial freedom. It will allow us to provide our family with a very solid life. In addition, with the mindsets that we have built, it will make a very solid base for our family. In addition, with the deep and wide knowledge that we have accumulated, we can convey and educate our children in the best way. With such foundations, we can be completely assured to care for our family life and our small families, enjoying life to the happiest levels. But suppose family life is not our choice. So if we like to do business or work, then we can freely and comfortably do business and work as we wish. At that time, we do business with a mindset that we still have a safety net behind us. With such a mentality, we can easily play the riskiest games without being afraid of anything. We will be more adventurous than those who are holding their family's red book to take risks, 5 wins, 5 losses. If they lose, the whole family is on the street. I don't believe that in a game of cards, those people will have an advantage. They will always have to negotiate in weak positions. Not to mention that besides money, behind us is a series of solid knowledge, useful mindsets. Then our business game at this time will be very interesting. And the important thing is that throughout this journey, whether we go up or down, we are always in a state of enjoyment. Not to mention that with the freedom that we have built, we can play many games at the same time, and we can still play well. For example, we can play both the business game and the family games at the same time. And surely with the financial, knowledge, and mindset foundation that we have built, we can play both of these games at the best level. Even more, we can still play well. This is the stage where we can enjoy the fruits of our years of investment and planting. Thanks to those years of investment, we can now free our hands to find happiness for ourselves. We have complete freedom to do anything that makes us happy. And gradually, these happiness will grow large and will lead us to the highest levels of the happiness tower. That's when we start. We seek the joys that surpass the happiness for ourselves. When we start, we seek happiness in bringing value to those around us. This is when we start to build a second path, which is a sharing path, sharing our happiness with others. It's when we can start to think about the legacy that we will leave behind when we step out of this life. When mentioning this aspect of sharing, many people might immediately think of charity, but in fact, it can take many different forms. It could be science, when we are free to devote ourselves entirely to researching a solution. Or it could be setting up companies or organizations to solve a problem for society. Or it could simply be sharing the knowledge we have accumulated with the younger generations around us. In summary, it can be in any form as long as it brings happiness to us and brings value to those around us. At this point, we may reduce our focus on the main activities of the past and start focusing more on these sharing activities. For a simple reason, this is when we start looking for higher levels of happiness. And these journeys may also have many ups and downs, not necessarily smooth. But no matter how many ups and downs, with the foundations we have, it is still a very happy journey. When it has developed to a certain level, that will be the time when we start to prepare for the succession of both the main activities and these giving activities. If the main activities are a family, then the inheritance will be to pass on to our children and grandchildren the wisdom, the principles that we have collected. I'm not talking about leaving money for our children and grandchildren. I have a thought that we should not leave money for our children and grandchildren. Instead, let's leave the lessons, the ways of thinking, the learning methods so that from there it can outline its own paths. With these things, our children and grandchildren can start from zero dong and they can still have a successful and happy life. Without these things, no matter how much money we leave, it will only harm them. That is in the case where our main activities are a family. Alternatively, in the second example, if our main activities are not a family but a business, for instance, this will be the time when we prepare and retrain the next generation of leaders to gradually pass on to them. Similarly, for sharing activities, at some point, we will also start preparing for succession. Because we all want these activities to continue after we leave. Our main goal at this stage is to focus on building these transitions. After that period is the time when we start to step back to observe and guide the successors. And gradually we can step back and watch everything continue to operate without us. This is the time when we summarize the lessons, experiences, and wisdom that we have had. Because with such a life, there will certainly be very valuable lessons for future generations. After completing those tasks, we can continue to enjoy the remaining time of our life, gently stepping over the age of 70 and enjoying our additional years, smiling and waiting for the day we say goodbye to a life worth living. In any official document of Vietnam, there is a very good sentence that is independence, freedom, happiness. What I share with you today also revolves around that sentence. As soon as we step into life, we strive to be independent as soon as possible. Starting from being financially independent to take care of ourselves. Gradually, we became independent in thinking, knowledge, and mindset. From there, we build the foundations of freedom, financial freedom, freedom from material, freedom in thinking, and freedom to live life the way we want without being affected by anything else. When we have freedom, it will be a solid foundation for us to seek happiness for ourselves, and happiness will gradually lead us to fulfillment. But looking back, even in the early stages, the daily self-improvement journeys, witnessing what we are investing and sowing growing up, gradually looking at all the goals we want, then all those things will also bring a lot of happiness to us. The result is that we will have a life full of happiness, a life worth living. Worth living not only for ourselves, but also worth living for those around us. There is a very good saying that I really like, roughly understood as we should do something, so that when we leave this world, it is a little better than when we entered. And I believe that is a destination that any of us would want to aim for. Just sometimes life is too difficult. It sweeps us along with daily worries. So it does not allow us to think about such distant things. What I share in today's episodes is a suggestion about another path, where we can leave the old ways and go our own way to make life more meaningful. I share this path not for you to live exactly according to that formula, but for you to use it as suggestions so that from there we can add or subtract to make it suitable for our own path. The ultimate goal is that we must find a way to have a happy and fulfilled life. Hopefully, through today's suggestions, you will have a clearer imagination about a path that may have more probabilities leading to happiness. If you find this content useful, please share it with your friends and relatives, especially the young ones, because I believe it will help them a lot. I wish you a happy evening with your loved ones and family.